What is the worst rudest way you've been rejected? I can't think of many as an adult if I'm honest. But I always remember an incident when I was around 11. I was picked to go on this summer camp type trip for a week with a bunch of kids in the year above me, 12-13-year-olds, because of good behavior. I was the only 11-year-old. There was a boy I'd had a crush on for a while, and on the first day he asked me to be his girlfriend. Obviously we were all children, so that doesn't even mean anything. But he kept it going for the whole week. Sending me notes. Hugging me in the hall before we were sent to separate dorms, etc. On our last night I got a note asking me to meet him in the hall. When I went out, the entire group was there, 35-40 kids, all crying with laughter. He announced to everyone it had been an entire joke that the whole group had all been in on, and he'd never be interested in an ugly teacher's pet. As an adult, I'm obviously not remotely upset about the romantic rejection because I was 11 hectares. But the social rejection and the public humiliation aspect of it was tough. Anyway, I am 24 now, and he slid into my DMs after high school and I told him to go duck himself. Which felt good. This happened in 6th grade. I was bullied badly throughout elementary school. For reasons I still don't understand. I was made a social outcast by the mean girls. I was walking home from school with one of the cool boys in class, who was always nice to me one-on-one, but eagerly joined in the bullying otherwise. He told me that one of the girls in class was having a party after school and that I should come. I was so excited to be invited to a party with the cool kids. I went home, told my mom, and rode my bike to the girl's house. I rang the doorbell, and the whole group answered. One of them said, "Oh my god, she actually came." And they all laughed. Then the girl whose house it was said, "You can go now," and shut the door in my face. I was too ashamed to go back home and tell my mom what happened. So I rode my bike around aimlessly crying for a couple hours before going home. I am 35 years old now and that memory still stings. I am so grateful that I had a loving home life. And social media wasn't around yet. I don't know if I would have made it through otherwise. Don't be bullies, kids. Went out for lunch with a dude I had a crush on. Told him I liked him. He said, "Are you aware of the concept of the friend zone? My friends and I have laughed about this for years." When I was 11, the boy I was crushing on said he didn't want to go out with me because I was ugly in front of all my friends. We ended up getting together in our late teens and we've now been together for 13 years. He doesn't remember this incident, but he is devastated that he ever said this to me, even as a child. Got sat down for coffee with my BF of 2 years and he said, "I am bored of you now. Let's break up." Then picked up his coffee and left. Tore at me for a while, but I got over it. More pissed off than anything, he wasted my time. After living with my boyfriend, now ex, for a couple of years, I was going through a bit of a depression. Things started to look up, and I was starting to put my life back together. We'd only had sex a few times in as many months. And he mentioned that when I was ready, he'd like me to initiate. He didn't want to pressure me. Great. He's been super understanding so far. And this just shows how supportive he is. The next day I try to initiate because I have a cool, understanding, supportive boyfriend that I love. He stops me and says, "Don't you want to lose some weight first? I don't want you to be upset if I can't get hard because of your belly flab." Noped out of that relationship real fast. This story is from last year and probably still counts as my most painful, and also confusing, rejection. I had known a man for several years online and we had gotten very close. We met over World of Warcraft and we played together literally every day for 2+ years, talking on Discord, and eventually we started flirting a bit. He starts begging me to come visit him, as he lives across the country unfortunately, and I enthusiastically say yes because at this point I am stupidly in love. He spends months going on and on about his feelings for me. How he's always liked me and how he's in love. How I'm so beautiful and he can't wait to kiss me, etc. At this point he's video chatted with me multiple times and seen many full body pictures of me, so he definitely knows what I look like, which brings me to the weird part. We finally meet and He treats me like a sister and seems really uncomfortable with the idea of kissing all of a sudden. The trip was very fun, but I felt really rejected. I tried hugging him when we got back to his place and he was visibly uncomfortable, telling me that he wasn't ready to make a physical move despite him being the one begging me to come be with him. I felt really rejected and repulsive. He even sat on a different couch from me across the room, despite telling me how much he wanted to cuddle for 2 years. Late that night I asked him what was up, and he said that he found our age difference off-putting, which really upset me because he knew my age since the day we met. And he's not even that much older than me. It really felt like a lame excuse. To this day I have no idea what really happened. My only 2 guesses are that I look fatter IRL than he was expecting, or that he had an IRL girlfriend or something. I'm still salty about the waste of time and money, lol. I got ghosted by a guy I had been seeing for a year. I saw him at a bar a few months later and he tried to come over and greet me like nothing happened, but I stuck my hand in his face and walked away. Maybe not the most grown up thing to do, but he ghosted me, so duck him. Edit. Thank you for the silver, kind stranger. Lost my virginity to my boyfriend at the time. 2 days later he dumped me via text. The whole "it's not you, it's me" thing. To a freshly 18-year-old girl though, that obviously means nothing. Happy ending. After that, I vowed to never have sex with someone I couldn't see myself marrying ever again. 100% just a personal choice for myself. Have no issue at all with casual sex, but it wasn't something I wanted. Sure enough, a year and a half later at 19 years old, I met a guy that seemed to check all of my boxes. I moved forward, deciding that even if we didn't end up married, it was worth it because he showed me how I wanted to be loved by someone. We've been together for 7 years. Married for almost 5. Was talking to a guy for a while, and finally felt comfortable enough to send him a more risque photo. I don't send out nudes or anything, and I like this guy, so I send the photo, and he replies back, "Hey, got anything better to impress me?" His reasoning when pressed was, "Well, you're just so hot. I just wanted you to send more pictures." Nope. I stopped talking to him shortly after. After 22 years of marriage he said he didn't want to be married anymore. What that translated to was, "I am fking your friend." When I was about 17, I went to the park on a double date with a good friend of mine and 2 guys we just met. We'd been there for about 10 minutes when dude number 1 suddenly shouts, "I'll bet you $10 I can run through those trees and back in 60 seconds," and he just takes off into the forest. After a few minutes, dude number 2 decides his friend must have gotten lost, runs to his car, and drives away. We never saw or heard from either dude again. It was a very strange experience because these guys pursued us and we're still not sure what made them run for the hills after spending just 10 minutes alone with us. One ex told me he was done now and just wanted to see what it was like dating a black woman. My last ex was a weird roller coaster. He was heavily Christian, outspoken and pretty haughty about it too, and it came out that he told me he has a sex addiction. Then said he was getting therapy for it. Then said he had been on fetish sites sending messages and pictures to girls in other states for the duration of our time together, 3 years. After all that, no. Just no. Then almost a year later homie is seen at local fetish events. So guess therapy is going great. On my books for the oddest breakup I've had, and I'm nearing 30. I think it was Freeman year NHS. I'd just spent the summer in Switzerland where I'd had the most amazing summer romance with this gorgeous Swiss boy named Bastian. That was the boost I needed to think I might finally be popular and get attention from cute boys at home. There was a boy Jason I'd had a crush on forever, so I just talked to him one day. He was distant but I kept trying. Then I guess he got sick of me and he had 2 of his friends found me at my gymnastics gym of all places, and as I was sweaty, exhausted from practice and wearing a Leo, which always made me feel a little conspicuous, and they said something like, "Just so you know, Jason will never be interested in a girl with small tits and a retard for a brother," and then laughed as they walked away. My brother has extreme autism, so I'd heard cruel comments before, but it just crushed me. Jason actually saw me at college 5-6 years later and apologized. I guess he felt bad over it for years.